All right, so look, the 2020 elections is upon us. Today is the day. People are wondering, Biden, Trump, Biden. Who are you voting for, Mike Rashid? I'm not voting for either. I'll tell you why. During my adult life, when I really scanned the years, since I've been an adult, not one president had any particular impact on my life. That's me personally. If I'm missing something, maybe I'm missing something. I did vote for Obama because he was the first Black American president. And, I was proud to see someone that looked like me in the Oval Office. But I got to be honest, I was disheartened with the job that he did, especially for people that look like me. He did nothing for us, for Black Americans. He did a lot for our Native American brothers and sisters. He did a lot for the LGBTQ community, which is great. But he did nothing for African Americans, American descendants of slaves. So that's something I stored in the back of my mind. So now we have President Trump, okay? There's a lot of rhetoric about him being a racist. And I don't think he's a racist. If he is, I don't really care. Biden, people, especially Black people, are supporting Biden. But I ask y'all to ask yourself why. And also look at Biden's record, look at Trump's record. Don't go with the narratives that the media puts out there because it's not accurate. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I've been researching the hell out of both of these guys, both candidates, a lot of political science stuff. And what's portrayed in the media is not aligned with truth and reality. It is what it is. When we dive into Biden, the Democratic Party, Biden's political legacy, first of all, Biden's been in politics in the government for 47 years. Geez, that's a long time. His political legacy is one of great detriment to people that look like me, African or American descendants of slavery, Blacks in America, by way of the transatlantic slave trade. It's of a huge detriment. The 1994 crime bill that he championed, he authored, is his legacy. That crime bill put Black men in prison at a disproportionate rate. It devastated the Black family, hence the Black community. Now, when we say Trump is a racist, we have to really look at that term, okay? What is a racist? To be racist is to prejudge against or antagonistic towards a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. A racist is one who is in a position of power and a quote unquote superior position over another group and use that leverage to harm or mistreat people in a marginalized group. In this country, Black people, there's a lot of different people. Well, I'm speaking of Black people right now. We're in a marginalized group, right? We're considered minorities with 14% on a good day of the population. So we're in a small group. We are a minority in this country, not in the world, but in this country. That's very important. But anyway, so Biden was in a position of superiority or power to enact policy that affected us very negatively. And, it is what it is. It targeted Black men in America. Bill Clinton, when he was president, he signed off on the bill, right? Bill Clinton's wife coined the term, Hillary Clinton coined the term super predator. And that was a tag for Black men, young Black men, these violent, dangerous super predators. Now, if you go way back in history, after the abolishment of slavery, during the Emancipation Proclamation, which we still didn't get freedom, there was a huge fight and a push against that from the South. So they came out with a movie called Birth of a Nation, in which they depicted Black men to be savages, to be violent rapists of white women, which has never been a legacy. We don't have a legacy of that If anything, it was a legacy of white men raping black women when they were in a condition of slavery. It happened over and over and over again. Black men wasn't raping white women, but they depicted us in blackface. They had a scene that was so egregious. This white woman was so terrified from this black man that she chose to, instead of getting raped by this black man, she chose to jump off of a mountain to her death, plummeted to her death. Come on, guys. Anyway, there was a whole host of laws that were written to target black men after slavery to put us right back in slavery, right? So you gotta look at the 13th and 14th Amendment. So slavery is abolished. However, there was a thing called vagrancy laws. So if someone comes up to you, a black man, and you're out in public and you don't have a justifiable reason for being there, justifiable to the person in authority that's asking you, you're a vagrant, we're taking you back to jail, you get beat, you get imprisoned, and you get leased out to a plantation. You're back in the system, right? Then we have probation and parole. Someone commit a crime, quote unquote, pay their debt to society, do their time, and chances are they're working for free, right? Get out, you're still marked. You can't vote, you can't carry firearms, you're still in prison, you're still a slave, right? Can't get decent jobs, you can't move into certain areas because you have this mark on your record. That should be gone with the sentence. If you do your crime, you do a crime, people make mistakes and they should pay for it. You pay for it, 5 years, 3, whatever the sentence is, you're done. That's how it should be. But no, you're still marked, right? Now, white people, black people, Hispanics, everybody goes to jail. However, the percentage of people that go to jail is disproportionately black. And we're not crazed, deranged criminals. We're targeted, all right? In this crime bill that Biden championed, they made crack cocaine hugely punishable. Let me tell you how egregious this is. Someone can have an ounce of cocaine, pure powder. And keep in mind, people, crack cocaine is cocaine. It's a watered down version of pure powder, white powder or cocaine, right? So it's a method in which baking soda and water is used. We call it step on it, rock it up, whatever, to make it cheap and affordable. So you have these nickel rocks, $5 rocks, $10 rocks, quarter rocks, whatever, because black people in the hood couldn't afford an 8 ball of cocaine or an ounce of cocaine, right? But they can afford a $5, $10 rock. Somebody with $15 worth of crack cocaine was doing 15, 20 years in prison. Somebody found with an ounce of cocaine, slap on the wrist. You can't tell me that that's not disproportionately or unfairly targeted at blacks. Also, marijuana was deemed a Schedule 1. We know marijuana, people high on weed don't hurt nobody. It's not a dangerous drug like fentanyl or all of these prescription drugs that people are dying from right now. Anyway, we get to that on another episode. However, it was a host of laws, a host of rules that really targeted black men in America. During this time, during the 90s, if you guys recollect, shows like Cops, all of these shows was marketing black men as criminals, right? This is all during, it started with Reagan, some of the first George Bush, but really with Clinton, really magnified it as us being super predators. So every day you're getting marketed that black men are dangerous. You see us on TV with our shirts off running from cops. But when you look at these cases, these were petty criminal cases, stealing, burglary, trespassing, silly things like that, right? But they're putting this on TV. They're making people look dangerous, right? And I was in a gym a few months ago, and I remember I was in Lifetime Fitness in Laguna Hills, and they got one of those cop shows on TV with black gangbangers, this and that. I'm like, why are they playing that in here? What are they trying to do? You know what I'm saying? But it's all marketing to make us look like criminals. It works so well that black people look at other black people as criminals. That's just not the case, right? There's statistics that people will throw around like, yeah, but black on black violence and crime is horrendous. And it is, it's bad. But guess what? White on white crime is just as bad. People happen to commit crimes in the communities that they come from or they live in. So if it's white people, The people that's mostly killing white people are white people. The people that are mostly killing black people are black people. It goes for any racial group. This is a segregated country. Don't get it twisted like it's super integrated. It technically is, but people still live in predominantly black, Hispanic, white, whatever communities. That's just how it is in this country. So let's not gloss over that fact. Anyway, the things that Biden, I can't support Biden because the things that he's known for is egregious, is not even a powerful enough term. All right, it's bad. And for him to get on TV saying, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. How do y'all not have a problem with that? That's some bullshit, straight up. It's not okay. I'm not okay with that. Okay, they pander to black people, just like on the Republican side, it is what it is. They pander to racists. And now, am I saying that Republicans are racist? No. I have a lot of friends that identify themselves as Republicans, as conservatives, and they're good friends of mine. However, back in the 70s, this is real. The Nixon administration, not the 70s, whenever Nixon was in, his administration, well, let's back it up a little bit. The Democratic Party used to be the party of the Ku Klux Klan. It is what it is. Now, there was a huge thing with integration and segregation. The Democrats fought against integration. They wanted to keep segregation. They kept losing. Now, the fact that they were losing, they had to drop they had to let go of that and adopt integration. When they did that, they lost a lot of their base. They lost the races. So Nixon capitalized on this. What Richard Nixon did was he made sure that the religious people in the Northeast, mainly the Catholics, they didn't have a political base, and also the racists in the South didn't have a political base. So he pandered to both parties. Before that, the Republican Party was not like big on abortion and all of these things that they're big on now. It was a political move. This is history. This is documented. So they went after them and they went after the racists in the South. So it seems like every Republican candidate is a racist. Why? Because a lot of their followers are racist. I'm not saying that they're not racist. Richard Nixon was clearly a racist. Ronald Reagan was a huge racist. There's audio tape of him talking about his disdain for black people and how he think that we're animals, him and Nixon laughing about it. I'm gonna link all of that down below. But anyway, George W. Bush, I don't think was a racist. He seemed like a really good person. Actually, the Republican Party, they didn't like him. He was somewhat of an outsider because he was pushing for a lot of policies that was kind of fair across both sides. Anyway, Bill Clinton, let's get to Bill Clinton. He went on Arsenio Hall show, chummy with black people. It was just for votes because what he did was horrible, was so egregious to the black community. All right, so and he's still to this day, he's very defensive about it. So anyway, how I see it is fuck Bill Clinton, fuck Hillary Clinton, and fuck Joe Biden, right? Now, Joe Biden's running mate, Kamala Harris, I think it's weird that he feel like, well, I'm going to pick a black woman as my running mate. And he says, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. It's like, come on, black people, please wake up. This woman put so many black men in prison. It's ridiculous. There's people talking about how they got done wrong by her. She withheld evidence that would let innocent people off of death row to where the state had to force her to submit evidence when she was a district attorney. She's not a good person. She's, in my opinion, a Sambo, okay? A Sambo is one who, back in slave days in the plantations, it was a lot of divide and conquer. And some of that divide and conquer was to be close to master, be close to the white man in the house, getting the good food, better treatment. So the blacks that wanted that would tell on anybody plotting. There were so many planned revolts on plantations, but they all were undermined by other blacks telling, hey, boss, them niggas out there trying to That's Kamala Harris. Just because someone is black doesn't mean that they're for the cause or they're for you. You know what I mean? So Don't be so loyal just because someone looks like you. All right. Do your research. Look at her record. It's egregious. Okay. The people that I would have voted for, they get positioned out, right? People like Bernie Sanders, the senator from Hawaii, Tulsi Gabbard, people like that, but they get boxed out by what's called establishment Democrats, all right? People like Joe Biden, he says it, I am the Democratic Party. He says that boldly. This man has been in there for 47 years, all right? And when you talk about racist, he's pandering to you, black people. He's pandering to you. His mentor, Robert C. Byrd, was what's called a cyclops in the Ku Klux Klan. So it's not like he was just a passive member. He was a high-ranking member that recruited lots of people over a span of like 10 years, okay? Now, later in his life, he denounced the Klan and said it was a big mistake, but that's real convenient when you're dying. Anyway, that was Joe Biden's mentor. He spoke at his eulogy, he gave his eulogy, spoke at his funeral. You know, I just can't rock with that. I'm sorry. I can't get over that. So y'all got to be mindful about your political alliances. Just because traditionally your parents voted a certain way and grandparents voted a certain way doesn't mean that you should. All right. And I'm not saying you need to go vote for Trump, because there's a lot of things that Trump does that's highly divisive, that's not good for this country. But he has done better things for black people than the Democrats in the last 12 years. It is what it is. It's a fact. So, but I'm not endorsing either candidate. I'm not voting for either. We need a third party, seriously, a serious third party. Or we need to press these politicians for the issues that really matter. All right. Now, I'm voting down the ballot for a lot of things locally because that affects me directly. I'm also involved with me and some other businessmen out here in California. We have contact with some local people in the local government, and we're pressing certain issues, and we're using our influence and our resources, aka money and actual influence, to help push through some policies. That's what's got to be done. Don't look at these political figures as some ethical person, some spiritual leader. They're not leaders at all, okay? They're politicians, all right? If you look back in like Greek and Roman, our government is based on ethos and a tenet that was designed by the Greeks and Romans, right? This democracy. And if you look back to their civilization, they had different classes of people. One of them were called the sophists. It's kind of where the word sophisticated come from. But sophists were, all they did, they were like they were the politicians of the day. They were just skilled at like fucking arguing and just dealing with semantics just to prove points and things of that nature. I guess lawyers and politicians come from sophists, but that's all these guys are, right? They're not here for the greater good of the people. The people like that get called crazy. Bernie Sanders, AOC, they call them crazy. Why? Because they're passionate about doing the right thing for the people. They're not trying to become billionaires and things of that nature, all right? So y'all got to really look at this and don't put all your faith in a politician. They're just here to push through policy. This is what y'all got to realize. The power is literally in the people. It's in you, it's in me, it's in all of us, okay? But y'all so easily give it away. You know, they put Lil Wayne, Trump take a picture with Lil Wayne, black people are like, oh, okay, yeah. And then my white friends, stop sending me pictures of Trump and Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne ain't no black leader. He's just a rapper. He's a drug addict. I love him. I love his music, but he's not somebody I follow any kind of life directions from. Y'all need to stop that, okay? It's a slap in the face. We're not stupid, all right? Pushing that forward to us like, see, is really insulting to our intelligence. So don't do it, all right? I love you, but stop doing that. And I love Lil Wayne's music, all right? Anyway, I might vote for Kanye, who knows? If he's on the ballot out here, I might write him in. But yeah, so y'all just be mindful about who y'all vote for. Vote, don't vote. I don't really care. It's so weird how this whole thing goes anyway, this electoral college. Y'all look into that too. Very strange how voting actually works, right? As much as I understand it, I don't understand it. It gives me a headache thinking about it. But anyway, just don't go into things blindly, and don't make decisions based on your feelings and your emotions. Go based on facts. Do a little bit of research. Y'all can spend 15, 20 minutes on each side, okay, on Google. Google their records, their policy. Google a 1994 crime bill, but also look up Trump's First Step Act, which I think is a noble thing. It's deconstructing that crime bill. It is what it is. So look all of these things up and then make an informed decision. All right. But don't be loyal to something just because that's the thing to do. Nothing's the thing to do. The thing to do is to be smart, to be wise, and do your research, because there's no excuses. We all got iPhones or Androids with access to Google, with access to everything. All right. That's all I got to say. Check y'all out later. Peace.